Anne-Marie, what's your sense of the 2018 market?
Overall, we expect that 2018 is really not going to be much different than what we saw last year. So sales activity will be generally at the same levels that we saw in 2017, with prices remaining relatively stable. We're really in a market where we're seeing, there is some improvement in economic activity. We were on this sort of steady path to recovery. We started to transition in that market in 2017, but now there's facing some new challenges that are impacting our market moving forward.
And what sort of challenges do you see us facing, Anne-Marie?
Some of the biggest challenges really are regarding what will happen with the impact from changes in lending rate combined with the mortgage rule changes. We know that this has a more broader base effect as far as mortgage qualification, but we're also starting to see rising lending rates, and that's something we haven't really seen in almost a decade. So that's going to start to influence the housing market. Now, where we are fortunate is that some of that impact that really reduces demand when you have higher rates is being offset by improving economic conditions. But that pace of growth still continues to remain really slow. So I almost look at this as a year of changing expectations. Are they able to consider making those moves like upgrading their homes and things like that? I think in our cities particularly, we've gotten very used to this. You go through this recession and then you have really strong growth after. And we're moving into a scenario where really that pace of growth is going to look very different than what we've seen.
So what does that mean for us, when you're talking about coming out of a recession?
Well, what it means is that this is a slow pace of recovery, so we don't expect to see much movement in prices. And that's really what it comes down to, is there still is a fair bit of supply in the overall housing market. And because of that puts some limits on that ability for prices to really recover. So we have to remember that prices are still below what they were in 2014, and we don't expect that recovery to really happen this year, right? So there still continues to remain some challenges keeping our market growth quite slow. And of course, there is differences depending on product type. We know that the apartment sector, while we are expecting general stability in the market, the apartment condominium sector, still has too much product, so too much supply based off the demand, and there's a lot of competition coming from the new home side. There's still a lot of rental vacancy, and that's impacting that segment of the market where we still expect to see price declines this year. From your perspective of working with clients, what is some of the advice that you're giving them for buyers in this market and sellers in this market?
What I see our members telling their buyers is that it's really important to get your knowledge as to what price point you're going to be able to buy in. Go out and get pre-approved, get your mortgage rate set so you know your price point. Then the realtors can help you find out what's available in your price point once you decide where you want to live. I think knowledge is power in this marketplace. And for sellers, the same thing holds true. Knowledge is power. They really need to have a good look at what their competition is, have the realtor help them to see what's available in their price point, in their area, what they're going to be up against, and to help them price appropriately so that they're able to be successful in selling the property.
Are you finding a shift with expectations regarding what people can afford, and are you already seeing some of those shifts happen in the market right now?
I think we're starting to see somewhat of a shift. It's always difficult, but people are looking at what they can afford as far as buyers, looking at where their purchase points are now and what they can find at those points. And I think we're also seeing sellers take a look at where similar products are selling in their area and in their price point.